Hello to one and all who is listening to me. My name is Neeraj, and I, along with my teammate Abhimanyu from Sri Aurobindo College Evening, are here to present our presentation for the second round of Decrypto Lab Finance organized by Vitarth and IBM. We have chosen the topic Impact of New Agricultural Laws on Indian Economy for our presentation. So kindly bear with us so that we can explain you what we have researched about. So as we all are familiar that the agricultural laws which are recently in highlight includes three ordinances. So let us discuss them one by one. The first one being the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Ordinance 2020. Talking about the provisional outline of the ordinance, this provides that the farmers will be able to sell and purchase more freely and in the intrastate and interstate trade uh, in the from beyond the APMC markets, and this has been further enhanced by the prohibition of state governments to levy any kind of market fees or cess outside the APMC areas, which is going to be a great boon for Indian economy. The impact of this ordinance on the Indian economy is going to be a major one, because this ordinance has also included that the tradings from the APMC mandis will further be enhanced with the usage of eNAM trading platform, which is an electronic platform which will help in enabling and enhancing transparency to save a lot of time in the market. But along with this, our take on this is that the 2017 and 18th economic survey showed that uh, the literacy rate of our farmers, basically the marginal and small farmers, is very less. 30% of the marginal and small farmers are still illiterate, and according to these results, we can also conclude about the workers engaged in the farming sector, which will also be having similarly low literacy. So we conclude that the above points would somewhat be not relevant to the majority of the farmers, as they don't have enough knowledge about the above facts. But uh, thinking on a positive note, the changes being implemented as the government is trying to provide more and more education and knowledge to the farmers. So the stats currently suggest that there are 18 states and 3 UTs. In the 18 states and 3 UTs accumulated, there are something around 1000 markets registered under ENAM, which is a great number for a start. So moving ahead, the next bill to discuss about is the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. The provisional outline of which suggests that this legislation will give power to farmers to engage directly with the stakeholders of the market, stakeholders like wholesalers, aggregators, etc. Farmers would be getting a price assurance even before sowing of the crops, which will distribute the market risk between the private players and the farmers. So the impact of this on the Indian economy is going to be a great one, because according to the relevant provisions of the act, the companies will have to pay off their creditors in maximum period of 3 days. So the myth that farmers will be dictated by corporates would be mitigated according to the law, and a proper dispute redressal system has also been set up to make sure that the Indian economy is gets maximum benefit of the bill. Also, our personal take on this is that we all the statistics are very much available to us, and we can conclude from all the statistics available to us is that the productivity of Indian small farmers is somewhat higher than that of the medium and large scale farmers. But contradictory enough, these small farmers own less than 2 hectares of the cultivable land, which sums up to 33% of the total cultivable lands, and ironically produce 41% of the country's food grain. So now the question is that their interest will be at risk. But here comes the role of farmers producer organization, which are coming from across the country in great existence, in great numbers, to make sure the assurance of remunerative price mechanism for safety of small farmers, which will ultimately add anticipated value for Indian economy. For to accompany our analysis, we have also presented a graph showing that the number of operational holdings as per different agricultural consensus. We can see the marginal farmers in our country, the holdings has been very high. So as compared to the small, semi-medium, medium and large farmers. So this says a lot about the implementation of this bill. Moving ahead, the third and the final bill of agricultural laws introduced recently is the Essential Commodities Amendment Ordinance 2020, the provisional outline of which suggests that the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020 aims to remove fears of private investors of excessive regulatory interference in their business operations. The freedom to produce, hold, move, distribute, and supply will lead to harnessing economies of scale and attract private sector foreign direct investment into the agricultural sector. We very much are aware about the importance of foreign direct investment in any aspect of Indian economy, and in the challenging times as currently we have seen, FDIs have played a great saving role in the economy. So this is the provisional outline of the ordinance talking about the impact of Indian economy. Agricultural commodities trading accounts for 12% of total commodities trading in India. In the NCDEX and NMC deals totally in farms product, exchange trading minimizes seasonal variation of prices and farmers gain from stable prices. This has been a consistent pace in our Indian economy. We have seen in 2018 that 2019-20 that agriculture has contributed 15% to the GDP of our economy, and in the last year's GDP, agriculture have added further 4% to our Indian economy, to our GDP, which is 19%. And further, this is anticipated that this ordinance, this will increase the commodities value as a whole towards the Indian economy, which will add great value towards the general market. So now our take on this particular ordinance is that the ECA disincentivizes investments in warehouses and storage for crops. It makes useless efforts of the government to improve the income of the farmers. Till the time the ECA isn't rejected, the private sector won't approach to put resources into agri distribution centers. Also, due to the fact that ECA Act fails to differentiate between hoarding and storage, the recent economy surveys say that this act is outdated and must go. This is very much a crucial point that we have came across during our researches in this particular ordinance, which says that ECA has been outdated and has been creating a problem of hoarding and additional extra storage in our country. So this act needs to be removed and revoked, which means it causes more harm than it adds benefit towards the Indian economy. So similarly, a graph in comparison to the NCDEX and MCX, one of the major commodities exchange that we have presented, the comparison pie chart we have presented here, which clearly shows the difference between the two. So this is how the ordinances in the agricultural farms looks like to impact in the Indian economy. So conclusive statement is something which we can conclude with, that is in IMF's chief economist Geeta Gopinath rightly said, every transition or every reform comes with a transition cost. So definitely in the short run, this is going to be a challenging one. And because taking into account all the shortcomings and probabilities of harm or negativity in our Indian economy with these agricultural laws, we anticipate great progress as well in the agricultural sector and as a whole in the Indian economy too. So that's what we have researched in this topic. We hope we have made justice to the topic. So thank you so much for listening to us.